Joining me now from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, writer and director of the movie Roe v. Wade, Nick Loeb. Nick, the backstory to Roe v. Wade is being told in your film. It's a fascinating one that I think that 99% of America does not know.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, when I got started in the process, I didn't know either. I think the whole country has heard of Roe v. Wade, but nobody knows how it became and how it got decided.
And part of the genesis of all this is Margaret Sanger, who really is a nefarious figure in the continuum of the history of this republic, a wicked human being who wanted to embark on something called the Negro Project, which really, Nick, was tantamount to genocide.
Yes, so Margaret Sanger was the founder of Planned Parenthood. Her first project, you're correct, was called the Negro Project. Her goal was to reduce the amount of African Americans in our country, mainly through sterilization and contraception. And she was sort of the inspiration to a guy named Larry Lader, who is the father of the abortion movement in our country.
And Norma McCorvey, of course, fits into the puzzle here. And Norma McCorvey, really, what they needed, the pro-abortion effort, Sanger and company and the doctors that were pro-abortion and trying to push this on the American people, they needed a victim, they needed a face, a name, but they also needed a stooge. And it seems as though, is this depicted in the movie that McCorvey is almost a useful idiot, if you will?
Yeah, and so what's depicted in the movie is that abortion movement, which is really the people who were running Planned Parenthood and NARAL at the time, are trying to fight this state by state. And they figure after they win New York, they just think this is going to take forever. So they start to search the country for a girl that they can take to the courts. So as they say, they can win this in one fell swoop. And they find this girl, Norma McCorvey, who'd already had 2 children, who was a drug addict, amongst many other things, an alcoholic, a runaway. And they gave her a pseudonym so nobody could dig into her background. And they used her essentially, and all she wanted was an abortion. They actually told her, if we take the case, you'll be able to get your abortion, which obviously, you know, courts take way too long and was untrue. And they manipulated and lied to her, and including using Sarah Weddington, who was her lawyer, to represent her. Sarah had never tried a case and needed a job and was sort of desperate for work, and was volunteering at Planned Parenthood at the time. And they sort of, all of these lawyers from Planned Parenthood and NARAL sort of kind of grouped around them and took them through handheld them through the process.
Jon Voight is in the movie. Steve Guttenberg is in the film as well. Are these folks going to be blacklisted in Hollywood now?
No, I mean, listen, I mean, everybody loves Jon. And, you know, Steve and Jon, they've got great careers, and John Schneider and Robert Davi. And, you know, we've got a great cast. You know, I think, you know, it's challenging being a conservative in Hollywood. I think it's even more challenging when you're discussing the issue of abortion. But there's always a battle there. So.
And I would imagine the next battle is to get it in the movie theaters and on as many screens as possible. How's that going?
It's great. You know, we have a lot of interest. I was just out in Los Angeles meeting with a bunch of studios. There are some studios who are willing to take a look at it, some that are too frightened or afraid. So you do have that mix. So, you know, we have to go out and regardless, we have to raise what's called P&A money. So we have to raise money to put it in the theaters for marketing. So we set up a website called RoeVWade.com where people can go and contribute. We're looking to release in about 1,200 theaters in the fall, nationwide.
RoeVWade.com, and the film is coming out in the fall, as you mentioned. It's interesting, a footnote to all this. Sanger really, in a sense, kind of got her wish when you consider that abortion is the biggest killer of black people in this country. But it's really important that Americans know the true backstory to Roe versus Wade, and we'll look for the release of your film. Nick, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.